Welcome to Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. This is your host, Sydnee A. I am the author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. And I am so happy that you are here for episode 5 with us. I cannot believe it's episode 5. Whoop, whoop. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. I wanted to let you guys know that I have updated my social media to make it easier to find. So everything now is just Learned in Go-Go. That is who I am on Instagram and on Facebook. So from here on out, that's where you can find my weekly assignments, any announcements or what I'm up to, my daily positive affirmations, things like that will be on those channels. So just wanted to let you guys know that. And thank you again so much for all of the support. I really, really, really appreciate it. So this week, I have named this episode Pew, Pew, Pew. And you're probably like, well, why the hell would you do that? Let me tell you. I want to talk about dealing with negativity. And it's something we all deal with, but I've noticed a lot of my friends posting things so far that 2024 is like really sucky for them. And it makes me feel bad because for me, I was having a super awesome 2024 until I had to deal with a loss last week. And then that was very negative and sucks a lot. It still sucks. But all of us deal with negativity all the time. And I wanted to get into that because there are ways to dive into negativity and then you wind up living there for a while and dwelling, and that's not healthy. I don't want anybody to live in the negative space, but it's also important that we feel those feelings. And there's a lot of websites and shows and all that focus on positivity almost to the point where it's toxic. So it's finding the balance of feeling those feelings, whether it's sadness, anger, depression. Those are all very, very important emotions. And you have to make sure that you are allowing your human self to deal with those human emotions. But you also want to look for ways to climb out of them too. So if you want to share on my social media some of the things that you've dealt with, maybe there's people out there that can help you find the resources that you need to put a positive spin on things. I personally start every day with my positive affirmations. If you follow me on Instagram, you see them every morning. And to me, that's just a way of starting my day on a positive note because I have no idea what the day is going to have. I can have a plan and the universe can laugh its ass off at it. Like that happens more than you would think. Actually, I do my affirmation, I do my planner, and then I just hold on for dear life and try to make the most out of the day that I get. So if you guys do follow me on Instagram, I hope that those affirmations are helpful to you to at least start the day off on a good note. I'm going to bring in my producer, Frankie, and see what he would like to throw into the conversation too.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And once again, thanks for joining us on the 5th episode. As mentioned, make sure you follow the new Facebook page, Learned in Go-Go. It pretty much will surround everything that we got going on within the podcast and what Sydnee has going on as well. Things are starting to get organized now. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to find everything, more or less.
Absolutely, it's a learning process.
It's a Learned in Go-Go process.
Absolutely.
But I want to comment on what you just said because it's kind of ironic. Well, very ironic, and I'm definitely going to throw this out there. But we were talking about the affirmations and how they help people. And I was having a conversation with I was doing a pre-screening with a buddy of mine, James, who's going to be coming on my hockey podcast, Chirpin' Pucks. And we're in the meeting room and we're talking about it. And he's someone that has really expressed about the affirmations that you put out there and how much they helped them. And all of a sudden, in comes Sid in our meeting room because Sid and I had a meeting, pre-screen for a big interview that she's going to be doing. We are super excited about that, and I'm sure we'll talk about that at the end of the episode. But yeah, she popped in there and said hi. And I actually got to introduce her to my friend James, who has expressed a lot of support and a lot of good things about her affirmation. So I just want to kind of give that little mention that they do help, and it's one way of people dealing with the negativity that surrounds. It's tough with it because I think the key word here is the dealing part, more or less, because
Definitely.
not when there's a lot of negativity surrounding you, if you don't deal with the situations, whether it be adjustments or removing yourself from them, and you kind of just flow with it and maybe in your mind hope that it goes away, chances are it's not going to happen. Things can get worse internally to where it can lead to bigger issues. Like I know, for example, I was surrounded by a lot of negativity and slash self-sabotage, of course, a big part of that, where I know that I needed to remove myself to get away from all that negativity, even internally. Like, for example, like even when I came up to Westchester, like I had to get myself right, get that negative energy away, which then resulted in rekindling relationships back with my family and a lot more happier. That's for sure. Don't get me wrong. I had my moments. I was losing my
But
shit
we
when we
all do.
I was in tears yesterday when you and I were talking at one point. I mean, I literally was like really emotional just because of this overwhelmed. Um, you have those moments. It's like I said, the key word in my opinion is just like dealing with it and how people deal with it. It's everywhere, and I'm sure I definitely want to hear what you have to say when I say this, but like the social media negativity. So maybe we can like
That's
even
what
like
I was going to say. I really think that in 2024, it's coming at us from all angles. Like, I grew up in the 80s. There was always
woo
bullying. There was
woo.
always
I'm 89, 89.
Yeah,
Hey.
we know how young you are, Frankie. But, it's not like those things are new. But what's new is, like, in 1985, when I went home, the bullying stayed at school. It didn't follow me home, and kids today, it's constant. So, part of the pew 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 is shooting down all of this negativity and finding a way to at least limit it, because you can't get rid of all negativity. It's a part of life. But
It's
what
not a
you
perfect
can
world.
do is get the apps off of your phone, so it's not a constant notification of, politics or, doom and gloom or whatever, because that breaks down your brain after a while. If that's all that you are consuming is negativity, there's no way it can't affect you. So finding your tribe, finding the people that get you, that you can be your, authentically weirdo self with, will do a lot to make you have a more positive life, because you have to be the guardian of your emotions and
Well,
put up boundaries. I like to say I'm soft in my heart, but I'm hard with my boundaries, because, if I love you, I freaking love you. But
love
I have
you.
to put boundaries up because
Yeah.
some people take advantage.
It's very well said, and even on the upside of that, like with the apps and stuff like that, and you made a really good point earlier, and I hope you don't mind if I be jumping in,
No, not at
because
all.
I think it's a really good conversation, especially for some give and take, is that balance, the balance, because so for example, finding the balance in certain people, like so for example, realistically, pub, people that of public figure. I would consider you getting damn near close to a public figure with the podcasts.
I'm trying.
You're there, girl, with the podcast, with the book. Like things are gonna happen rather quickly. The being in the eye of a public figure. I mean, even with me, like I mean, the social media world is something that we rely on heavily as public figures to content and followers and sales in the book and guests
Marketing,
on
yeah.
podcasts and marketing. Like, so it's so hard to find that balance, which comes with, dealing with it to an extent of now you have to back off. It's like, all right, the troll world, for
I was
example.
just going to say trolls are another, they're the modern day bullies on like, steroids. Because it's not just that little asshole kid in the hallway that's knocking your books out of your hand. Like these people, and it's actually scary the amount of information that they can get on you and use against you. And
I think I
why? I
told you
don't,
about that story. Yeah, well, keep going. I'll tell you about it. Yeah.
yeah, but I just like, I don't understand the drive behind being a jerk just to be a jerk. And keyboard warriors are the worst because 90% of them would never say that to your face. And in my
Mhm.
book, I talk about this because I can, I don't know why we're wired the way that we are as human beings, most of us, because there's always going to be that one person that's like, not me. So most of us are wired that, like, if I put a post up and I get 100 comments, and 99 of them are positive and encouraging and wonderful, and there's one jerk, what comment's going to live in my head? So I have to like make a point of getting it out of there. And in my book, I also like, this works for me. I don't know if it works for everybody. I will lay there in bed at night with these thoughts racing. So then what I do is I imagine them on a piece of paper, and then I imagine me crumpling them up and throwing them out. And like for some reason that helps to remove it from my brain more than just, okay, I'm going to stop thinking about this now. Having that visualization helps me anyway.
I like that a lot, actually. It's just kind of that way of ending the day with the negativity. And you kind of mentioned these keyboard warriors, which I love that word, by the way. I think I may have told you a story before, but I want to definitely tell your audience about how serious it can get. I had a friend of mine who had a podcast. I'm not gonna, no plug or anything like that because I don't know how she would feel about it. But um, she had a, and this is also, people in the podcast world. I highly, highly recommend doing pre-screenings. Sid and I are really big on it. I've been big on it since I've been doing it. I know with the guidance that I get and with the work that Sid and I do together, we always make sure we pre-screen every interview, every person we've ever will bring on this podcast, and it's for this reason. There was a gentleman that was a guest on my friend's podcast, and I'm watching it, showing support and stuff like that. And apparently, she didn't really know much about this character. Well, there was a crew out there. I don't even want to. I'm not going to mention who, like their name or anything like that. But there was a crew out there of like this underworld secret society trolls where they they followed this guy who actually was a big cyberbully and actually had some like forced somebody. I don't want to say forced somebody, but was so mean and bullied so much that this person ended up like ending their life. And they like believed that this guy shouldn't have gone to jail or whatever it may have been. They started to cyberbully so much on my friend's podcast because of the person she had on there, and it got and I crazy enough I like found out about it, and I wanted to find out what they knew and stuff like that. So I kind of played a like a
Like a decoy.
like a decoy, like a masquerade within their like Discord just to see what was being said. And they had information within minutes of where she lived, and they were just trolling. And I was like, I reached back out to my friend. I'm like, dude, this is kind of serious, man. There's like hundreds of them,
Yeah.
and like it's not just one person. Sometimes like they start to hijack her podcast, and it was pretty wild. She eventually dealt with it. Eventually got dealt with. Nothing came of it. She's kind of a ballsy chick, so she went in their like meeting and like faced them pretty much. It was like, dude, what's the problem? I didn't know anything about this guy. Like I didn't know the situation, what was happening. So
And
like
that's what's crazy. It
leave it
wasn't even
feeling.
her. It was
Yep.
somebody she peripherally knew. And like you said about nowadays, we all rely on social media for marketing, for advertising. Like there's really not, I mean, I'm sure everyone could be like, you can do other things. Sure, I could get a skywriter, but
That'd be
like at the
cool.
end of the day, right?
Send
Learned in
Hedwig to drop
go-go,
off letters.
buy my book. Like, well, that's what I was gonna say, like, how much of the physical mail do we get that we don't even look at anymore? We just toss it in the trash. We all pay our bills online, you don't have a checkbook anymore, like, generalizing. There are people that do. People I
Honey, I
love
need the
very
stamps.
dearly still use
I,
checks.
I need the
Um,
stamps.
but it's, it's a tough line to walk, and that's why guarding our mental health is so important, because you have to just be aware and take things at face value and be like, if this person is not contributing to my life in a positive way, why am I going to allow them to contribute in a negative way? And be the gatekeeper of your own brain. And it's hard. Believe me, I am an emotional mush and I take everything to heart. And I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I do not have a poker face. Like, if you hurt me, you will know in a second. It'll show on my face. So it's important that we all get the skills to either stand up to things or pew 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 shoot down the negativity. And another thing that I do is journal, and that helps me to vent and get the negativity out, and then I can kind of like get on with my day. And of course certain things last longer than others, like the grief I'm going through right now. I don't know when it's never going to be gone, but when it's going, did not hurt as bad. But then,
Mhm.
like, somebody calling me a poo poo head on my Facebook is going to last a couple hours, and then I'll be over it.
Who did that? Somebody call you poopy head?
I'm sure somebody at some point has called me much worse, but
Somebody called
it's
me a fart knocker.
okay. Sometimes
Remember,
I am a poo poo head, so it's
remember those,
okay.
remember those names back in the day? Not to get off topic, but I mean, like I think maybe this would actually be fun to kind of talk about the negativity that we dealt with as children. That like he called me a fart knocker.
Oh my god, yeah, and that hurt back then. Like,
What
that would upset you getting called names.
was the biggest insult you think as kids? Like, oh, you're not invited to my birthday party.
Oh,
Ha
yeah, yeah, yeah,
ha.
yeah, yeah,
Ho
that
ho.
mhm. That's probably why you're not allowed to invite kids in schools anymore. Because if you don't invite the whole class, you can't invite anybody in that
You're
way.
not invited to my birthday party. I think I said that to somebody when I was like in my 30s. I was like, we're not coming to my birthday party. It's funny as shit.
That's funny. Yeah, I
It,
don't I don't remember any, like, and I know I used to get bullied, but I guess I blocked it out. I remember more like the little things when you thought you were being naughty and you'd be like, "Shh, it's around the corner," and be like, "Ha ha
yeah,
ha,"
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
those
yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. It's all the way around, and you see different signs of it. Like, you know, I'm really big on energy. And I like kind of like bringing this sort of like when I first like met Sid, like we had like just actually obviously everyone knows that we met through MMR and they came up for Hunger, but like I with just mingling around doing my thing. I was like, yeah, let me take some pictures of you. She's probably like, who the frick is this guy wanting to take pictures of me? And you posed, you right there, I took some
That
pictures
was
for
my
you.
Barbizon modeling education.
Oh yeah, you had it going on. I took
1989, the year you were born, I was in modeling school, but go on with your story. I apologize.
took me 6 months to get you your pictures.
It's all good. It's all good.
And then but just we would go back and forth, and we were like, I wanted learn about her and the pot and well, the podcast because we eventually started that, but like the book, but the energy I got from Sid was just so positive. It was just such a positive vibe that I got, and that energy was just like I'm really big on like it was very just I gravitated towards her, and it obviously led to like such incredible things, like a great friendship. Like I like said my gal, I love her. She's the best. Like she's become like like one of my best friends. Like we do shit. Like, we're in touch every day, obviously because we have
Yep.
a lot of things happening. But like I can also vent and cry to her, and like I just said, we were in like a meeting room, and I was emotional yesterday because I just been so overwhelmed, and just all this stuff happening, and I was just like losing it, and she was right there with me, so I always appreciate that. But you know,
Always.
it's always good to have that positive and the person or whatever it may be to help cope with those negative situations, like because it's all around. Like we've already dealt with situations where there were like shitty situations and people were kind of shitting on things, and it's like, well, why is it happening? Where we got to get on and be like, all right, they're hating. Let's stay positive. We know what we got going on. People have opinions and they don't know anything that's happening behind scenes. Let's keep rocking and rolling. And then slowly they start to just diminish away. And it's just like, You were never invited to my birthday party.
Exactly. You have been banned from the birthday.
No
But yeah,
pinata for you.
exactly. Exactly. But that's what's important is figuring out how it works for you to flip the script. Because for certain people, like I've always been a golden rule person. I treat other people the way I want to be treated. Super simple way to live my life. If I wouldn't want it done to me, I'm not doing it to somebody else. You know, that's just my guidelines for myself. Another thing is I can lean over here. If you're just listening, you're not going to see it, but I can show Frankie. I've got ugh, it's a positive energy candle, and
Okay.
I can burn it and meditate and kind of, like manifest. Some people refer to it as praying. It's all your belief system,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever you can do to help you. If you're
Mm,
a religious person, and take a moment to throw up some prayers about it, like just changing your mindset can make
yeah.
a huge difference, whether it's journaling or candle burning or praying or going for a walk. I mean, that can clear your brain so fast, even if it's
That
just
was
around the block.
that was my
So
biggie. Was a lot of walking. I still journal. Actually, right next to me. This is mine. For those you can't see, just pulled out my journal. Crazy enough, like I go back and look at some of those things in there, and that was like when I went through so much. So like reviewing some of those. There it is. Since showing her journal right now. But you have your candle that you mentioned.
yes.
I have my duck that has up the middle finger.
Oh, there
Uh,
you
which
go.
which I told this story by my good friend Jeff from my hockey team. His kids got me that actually, which is great.
I love it.
Um,
And when you look at it, it makes you feel positive.
it's
you
it's
know
like I look at that like I see negativity. I see negativity, whether it be social media, blah blah blah, conversation, attacks. And I look at that duck, and he's got his middle finger up at me, and he's reminding me. He's like Frankie James, just put it up, just tell them to go duck themselves. Quack quack.
There you go. I need to take that to Walmart with me because, man, every time I'm in that store is a test of patience. Talk about negativity. And there's some good deals in there. You gotta go. Sometimes you just gotta go to Walmart. But every time I leave that store in my truck and not the back of a cop car is a victory. And I celebrate it because the amount of patience I don't understand. I don't understand why everyone in I'm not going to say everyone, but so many people in that store are just rude. Did I
Oh
ever
yeah,
tell you about the stalker lady in Walmart? I want to tell that
no,
story.
let's hear it.
So I went down an aisle, and a woman in one of those electric carts is coming the other way down the center of the aisle. Now there's no room to get my cart either way. So I'm like, all right, I'll wait for her to do her stuff and then I'll, go around. She sat there staring at me. So I'm like, okay, I don't know this lady.
A
I don't know what's
duel.
going like yeah, exactly. If she could have revved her little electric engine, she would have. But so I'm like, all right. So I go to the next aisle. Here she comes again down the center of
Get
the
out
aisle,
of
just
here.
staring
Stop,
at me.
dude.
So I go down two more aisles. Guess who comes? I'm like, all right, now she's doing it on purpose. Right. So then another woman comes around that I guess was her sister. And she's like, that's it. I saw what you're doing and you're not getting nothing. And she's like, why not? And she's like, because you're being a BI, I'm like, she was doing it on purpose. Why? What did I do?
Wait,
Like,
so
I
she
don't
was just.
understand.
It's so funny because like all you have to do is just like take 3 steps and you're in the next aisle. In her mind, she's probably like, I'm gonna get to you. Here I
She's
come.
just like dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun.
Dun, dun,
I'm
dun,
just like,
dun,
come
dun, dun,
on.
dun.
But I don't know her from a can of paint. Why? Why did she pick me? I
Why?
don't
What
understand.
was she doing? That's my question. When her sister said,
Staring at me like
her
she was
sister
gonna
said,
freaking kill me and
I know
block in
what
the
you're
aisle
doing.
so I couldn't shop.
But
Why?
she said that she knew what she was doing as if she does this like often.
Exactly, like this is a hobby. She's like the Walmart stalker starer lady. I don't know. But it
Oh,
was
that's
just
weird.
very bizarre. Very, very
I
bizarre.
know what you're doing. What does that mean? Where was she?
Exactly. She's being
It's
a
like,
BI,
yeah, is that what she said? The bi,
That's what
is
her
that what,
sister spelled it out. You're being a BI,
you're being a bi niner cr.
Exactly. Start talking code. I was just so perplexed.
That's weird.
That's probably the strangest Walmart story that I have.
You should have started running. You should just start running and see how fast you would. Like, you know what
Yeah,
you
if I
should have
didn't have
did?
a
You should have
cart,
played
I
Marco
guess I could
Polo.
have ditched the cart and ran. It wouldn't be like I was the first person to ditch a cart and just leave it there.
You should have played Marco Polo with her.
That would have been fun. I should have started throwing stuff in her basket.
Oh,
Would have taken her a year to put it all back. Now that's being mean, and that's bad karma. So I would not do that.
just load up her
But like
cart.
seriously though, like what was that about? I don't
Was
get it.
she?
And
I
I had a woman also once. This was at a different Walmart. This wasn't my home Walmart. Um, my husband and I were looking at steaks for dinner, and she just came and walked right in front of us and pushed us out of the way to look at the steaks. I'm like, yeah, no. Obviously, you're in a bigger hurry than we are. You go right ahead. Like,
yeah.
it was so bizarre. I've had that happen in a couple different stores. One guy did that, and I was like, he like squished his way in between me and what I was looking at. And I was like, what do you want for Christmas, little boy? And he goes,
Oh,
what?
Frankie
I
goes,
said, well, you're trying to sit on my lap like I'm Santa Claus. I figured I'd ask what you wanted for Christmas. And he left and still pushed me out of the way. Like I called you on your bullshit and you didn't even feel sorry about it. Ridiculous.
it seems like it's gravitating towards you.
They do. They do. But it's okay because I also get very nice people that gravitate towards me that just like to have a like quick little happy exchange and keep going. I get that a lot. Like a lot of pop-ups do that. I like that when I'm just like, "Hi, sir. Have a nice day." And they're like, "You too, sweetie." And they're just super nice.
You too,
Brightens my day.
sweetie. You can come to my birthday party.
I am invited to the birthday party. That's awesome. Maybe we can have scooter races.
Yeah,
That
that
would
might be
rock.
that might be the
Maybe she was
the
training. She was training for the birthday party scooter race.
I love it. I love it. We'll have to have this. My birthday's approaching, so maybe we'll do
I
something
know
like that.
mine's before yours.
I know it is before mine, isn't it? Yeah. All right. We'll have to have
Mine's
the
coming up.
special live birthday episode. We'll have a we should do that for the speaking of negativity, we're gonna change to a positive and talk about some positive things. We'll have a special live birthday party episode where we like talk about our birthday hats
That would be awesome, and we can have a
and cake.
pinata.
Cake and everybody's invited. Just for the record, breaking
Everybody's
news right
invited
now.
to our birthday party.
Everybody is invited to our birthday parties. Okay, we'll do make sure we do a nice big live celebration. And we'll
Even the BI, because I think she needs to have some happiness in her life, and it might help her to not stalk people in the Walmart if she has some cake and ice cream.
Well, yeah, we'll have to get her on. We'll have to talk to her.
Yeah. Good luck. You can go find her. No, thank you.
I know
she wants to kill me.
That's the thing.
I don't know why.
I know what you're doing. That's concerning to me. That means like is she like known for this in the Wally world?
It sounds like she is. Yes, like she's a habitual stalker.
Scooter stalker.
Scooter stalker. Yes.
I love it.
Good thing those things don't have a horn. She probably just blast it.
They do. Because
they?
So I've rode a couple of those before. Like I was in the hospital for like my asthma really bad, and like I just was so winded, so I couldn't walk. So I would ride one of those things, and they have like little horns and stuff like that. I'd always
make sure just don't work at Walmart.
Yeah, probably not. I would make sure like someone was recording me, and I would I would use it as like a TikTok, and I would put on the song They See Me Rolling.
See, I knew that's what it was.
They hate it, and I'm just like this, just
you're
cruising.
Riding dirty in the market.
I had my girl like sitting on my lap, and we're just like rolling. She's like doing like this with the phone, like the selfie, and we're just rolling down on my because for those of you that don't know, I'm not much of a driver, so besides the one time I stole that car. But yeah.
Okay, that's a negativity story. You shouldn't steal cars.
No, well, I was going through a lot at that time.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I was caught off guard by. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Well, once again, it goes back to, and I'll just touch on it just because of saying it, and then we'll transition. Like when I mentioned that negativity, and I had to remove myself and a lot of self-sabotage, I was like losing my mind, like diagnosed, like I was like literally losing my mind. And like I said, that's what brought me to Westchester. I had like taken my mom's car to go see a very, very, very toxic person. And that's kind of what was like surrounding a lot of that. Um, and my mom got the car back. Nobody was hurt.
Well,
Thank
that's good.
God. Well, I reflect back on it now, and like that was like, what was I thinking? But once again, I wasn't. And
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
mom got the car back. I am no longer within that toxic person. I like to think I'm no longer a toxic person as well. Because like I said, accountability is so important when it comes to certain things. And I had to really face a lot of accountability and know that like I was at fault for a lot of different things and the people that were around me that were getting hurt. I I was that negative person. This episode, what we're talking about right now, there was a time not long ago where I was that person. I was 100% that person, and drastic changes need to happen. I was that person for quite some time too. A lot of narcissistic tendencies, just like not like not what I could do for someone. Like, what can they do for me? Like, oh, I'm not going to deal with that person because like, what can they do for me? How can I benefit from them? There was a lot of that,
Right.
and a lot of self-worth issues to where I needed to fabricate certain things to make myself look better because I wasn't happy and proud with myself. I was a very negative person when you got to know me more or less, or like what was you able to see. Because on the outside, I was like, oh wow, Frankie's great and all this stuff, but like I really wasn't. It took a lot. It took for a lot to happen, and obviously I had went through so much last year. We mentioned on the show like when I had went through some serious things just last April with like suicide attempt and simply just losing my mind. It took a lot of therapy and a lot of getting away from that for me to become the best version of myself. Now, I'm not saying that I'm there, but the better version of myself. And once again, it brought me to have really good relationships now with my family. Um, being doing things like this, like people want to be around me more. I want to be around more. I'm more comfortable in my own skin, and it's led to good things. Like I said, we all have our days, but yeah, I was that person for a really long time. But I could talk about it because I know I was that person. I've held myself accountable, um, rekindled the relationships that I needed to at the right time when I knew that I could. It took 8 9 months. Like I didn't see my family for 8 9 months.
Wow.
Besides my dad, like we were talking about that when I had the episode of my show with my dad. Like I didn't talk to anybody, but my dad. My dad was the only one I really talked to, and I'm grateful for that. But it took a lot of work to be able to get those relationships back. So yeah, kind of ran away with that for a minute about the car thing. But yeah, I was that person for a really long time, and I'm glad that I'm not anymore.
And, giving you kudos, you're one of the very few people that I've known in my life that actually says, I was a toxic person and I've worked on it and stuff like that. A lot of people will never admit that. So kudos to you for understanding that and doing the work to make those changes in your life. Like for me,
Part of growth. Yeah,
yeah, for me, like I've dealt with depression since I was 12, you know,
same.
and it was always trying to, like you said, show a different side so that people wouldn't see that I was dealing with that. I was always cracking jokes and being funny and, stuff like that. And I think because I wasn't caring for myself is why I automatically gravitated toward caring for other people. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it gave me a sense of self-worth and it allowed me to not deal with my own shit, you know?
Verbatim.
So, yep. So I've, taken a lot of time and figured out, things that work for me and help me to be my best self. It's again, work in progress. So, but at least I can recognize those tendencies and say, okay, like not every I can't help everybody do their thing. Like I can share my knowledge and I can share the things that work for me, but it's not my responsibility to fix other people. I can show them things that might help them to help themselves. But unless somebody wants to make a change, there's nothing you can do to change somebody else. It's just not possible if they're not willing to do it. So,
Very
I've kind of
true.
had to change my focus, you know.
Yeah.
And it And the journaling helps with that. The affirmations help with that. My daily workouts, like those are the things that work for me.
The
And
podcast.
the podcast, definitely, absolutely. Like writing my book was huge. That took 4
Yeah.
years, and a lot of writes and rewrites and dealing with the process of publishing, which is you hear somebody self-published and you're like, oh, they just self-published. It's not that easy. I learned that, but I think one way to be more positive in your life in general is to be open to learning new things and admitting you don't know everything. And then you can get more positive experiences because you're looking for knowledge, you're looking for feeding your soul, and you're looking to connect with the people that can help you on that path. And that's all different ways to pew, pew, pew. I want to keep saying it because it's the title. Pew, pew, pew. To shoot down that negativity.
Pew, pew, pew. I love it. I love it. And yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of like end this part of this segment. It's a lot of good stuff that we were able to touch on. We kind of kept it within, but people will also learn a little bit about you and some of your stories, and obviously learn about the the negativity that surrounded my life for so long. And I always appreciate you when you allow me to voice those things and kind of talk about them.
Oh my God, it's
Means a
so
lot.
important to talk about because so many people honestly think they're the only one dealing with it.
Yeah, no,
So
I
I think
appreciate it.
sharing our stories is helping other people to realize they're not alone dealing
Yeah.
with those things. So
No, you're absolutely right. Well, we'll transition to everybody's favorite segment on the show, which is of course Sid.
stripper cinema.
Strippers, strippers, strippers,
Stripper,
strippers,
stripper,
strippers, strippers,
stripper
strippers, strippers,
cinema.
strippers. All right.
Cinema. All right.
So this week we're gonna have the Hangover, and just to kind of go into a little bit about the directed by Todd Phillips and written by John Lucas and Scott Moore. This film stars Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, Zach Galifianakis, Heather Graham, which we'll talk about, Justin Bartha, Ken Jeong, and Jeffrey Tambor. I'll let you
Awesome
take it from there.
cast. Awesome cast.
This
Cool.
movie.
So were we gonna like throw up the trailer there for?
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
think
we
you need
will.
to see the trailer to understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And most people have already seen this movie, so yeah, we're gonna play the trailer, and then Sid will we'll dive into a little bit about, because everybody's probably thinking, Sid, stripper. This isn't
Why the
we have
hangover? I
zombie
don't get it.
strippers. Like, why the Hangover? So let's play the trailer, and then we'll have you dive into a little bit about it, and then yeah, here we go.
Cool.
Hello?
Tracy, it's Phil.
Phil, where the hell are you guys?
We lost Doug.
What? We're getting married in 5 hours.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What happened last night? Oh, God! Am I missing a tooth? Oh. Whose baby is that?
Check its collar or something.
I looked everywhere. Nobody's seen Doug. He's not here.
Here's your car, officer.
All right, everybody act cool. Let's just get it and go.
What is going on? I lost a tooth. I married a whore.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Some guys just can't handle Vegas.
Mike Tyson? This is my favorite part coming up right now. Oh, jeez. Sam, he still got it.
I love this movie so much, and I hadn't seen it in a while. Yes. So the reason why I picked The Hangover, I think I said before, I just Googled a list of movies that feature strippers, and then I found a new list because the old list brought me a couple that were just stinkers. So I went looking for new ideas, and this was on an MTV list actually. And I was like, The Hangover? I don't remember. Like, I know they went to Vegas, but I couldn't remember like a gentleman's club and everything. And then I remembered Heather Graham plays Jade, who is a stripper that has a newborn baby. That's the baby that they wind up and find in the closet of the hotel room. And she winds up marrying Ed Helms' character.
Stu.
But yes, Stu. Because the premise of the movie, if you have not seen it, which like Frankie said, I think most of us have seen it. is that they go to Vegas for a bachelor party for Doug, and they wind up waking up the next day. Doug's gone. They don't remember a damn thing from the night before. The hotel room is wrecked. There's a baby in the closet. There's a
tooth?
tiger in the bathroom. Like, it's
Who's
just
missing the
total
tooth?
chaos. And yeah, I love. Did you hear that Ed Helms actually had a fake tooth and he pulled it out? Like, that's not makeup. He's
Oh,
actually got a gap in his mouth in the movie because he had I can't think of the word right now, but a fake tooth from an injury earlier in his
yeah.
life so he could pull it out.
Oh my God, I'm done. That works out so perfect. So before we dive into more about the movie, I just want to say that so this movie was the budget for this movie was 35 million. This movie made 469.3 million dollars.
Wow. So it's like the opposite of Showgirls.
It's literally the opposite of Showgirls. Yeah, this movie was so good, and and it's funny because people like this is where I think this movie was really big for people starting to really love Bradley Cooper. But
Yes.
and I remember seeing Bradley Cooper in this, and I remember reflecting. I was like, wait a minute, he was the asshole from Wedding Crashers, which people seem to always forget.
Yes. I
He was
love
the-
Wedding
It
Crashers.
was an incredible movie, but he was
Yes.
such a dick. He was such a jerk. He's like, everybody's ready for the quail hunt. Like
And that's
the big
what's
bad
so great
quail.
about these movies is
Mhm.
they're just ridiculously funny. So if you
Oh.
just need something to laugh at and not take too seriously, like The Hangover is one of those. It's like the super bads and the, like you said, Wedding Crashers, like
Napoleon
along those lines.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's so good. But we'll talk about Heather Graham now, and actually about like why are we talking about this one? And because Heather Graham was the stripper, and she was Carlos's mom.
Yes, Carlos. Wasn't his name Tyler? But they named him Carlos. But it's funny because they're like, well, she's a stripper. She's like, I'm actually an escort, but the club's a great place to meet clients. And I'm just like, oh my God. But you don't actually
I
see
forgot
her
that
in the
part.
club until the ending credits. She
Yeah.
went out to get them all coffee and she came back to the hotel room and they were all gone. And then like she shows up
baby
and
was
starts
gone.
making out with Stu and was like, oh, the baby was with his father,
Yeah.
who she met
And he's-
24 hours before. That
he
was so
starts
funny.
crying.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And they're just like, what is going on? But yeah,
It's-
so her character, she doesn't have a huge part in the movie, but what she did have was really funny. And I like that at the end they decide they're going to go out on a real date, like even though they're legally married. And he gave her the ring he was going to give to his asshole girlfriend. I can't think of her name. Was it Melissa?
Well, here it is. At they
Michelle?
learned that, so they had to go to the chapel to find. They were looking, obviously trying to find out where their
To
friend
find
was,
clues.
and
Yeah.
they found out that they were drugged by
Zach Galifianakis.
Ralph Rapino. What's the drug called that the date rape?
Oh,
drug?
roofies. Yeah.
Roofies, essentially. So it brought them to the chapel, and then they ended up going to the chapel where they learned that Stu married they call it call girl named Jade.
Yes.
And despite being in a relationship with his girlfriend, they find out that he married this girl because they had the mugs. It was like the mugs in the calendar.
Well, that was the thing. Like they bought the package, so they had hats and mugs and like everything of their wedding.
Yeah,
But because I knew something was going to happen, like when I first saw this movie years ago, when Stu brought the engagement ring he was going to give to his girlfriend along on the bachelor party. You're like, that ring's going to wind up getting lost, or so that was kind of like you saw that coming, but it's really funny that that's who he wound up marrying.
Yeah, it's so funny. And like, yeah, you're right. They find out where she lives. He's just bewildered. Like, it's just so funny. Like, I married a call girl, and he's like, oh. And I remember when Zach Galifianakis was like looking at all this stuff. He's like, oh, looks like we had a really good time. Come on, man. Such a good
because it
movie.
wound up that it's Doug's brother-in-law who they brought along. They weren't really friends with him, and he's the one that wound up roofing everybody by accident because he thought it was ecstasy. And they're like, oh, you mean you couldn't trust the drug dealer whose name you don't even know to give you the right thing? But yeah, I love that, and I also love that that was my first introduction to Ken Jeong because when
He's
he
hysterical.
jumps out of the trunk of the car butt naked, I peed my pants. I laughed so hard, and now knowing him, like, I know it's a goofy show and people don't like it. I love The Masked Singer. I
Masked
don't
Singer,
care what other
man.
people think.
Eric is
So
obsessed with it.
yep. So seeing him on that and then seeing him back in this character again was hilarious because it's so not what I'm used to seeing him as anymore. It was so funny. And
He's
then they had the wrong
hysterical.
Doug.
Yeah, oh, the wrong dog. Yeah, Black Dog. They call him. He's hysterical. And just for the record, yeah, The Masked Singer is a show that's watched a lot here. I have my opinions on it, but yeah, it seems interesting. But
I
yeah,
love The Masked Singer.
the Ken Jeong is hysterical. He's this whole movie was so funny, but I think they ended up. It's cool because I think in the second or the third one, Jade, who's the call girl who we're referring to obviously in the movie, they have to use her again, like I think in the second or third one in Hangover for something, but she accompanies Zach Galifianakis' character when he has to play blackjack to get the money.
Right. And she
She's
goes to
like
the casino to be a distraction.
be a distraction, yeah. So she plays a key role. She plays a key role in this movie.
She does. Yeah. And like I said, it's not a huge role, but the parts that she plays are very important to the storyline. So
Oh, it's
it's like
hysterical.
Mike Tyson showing up because they wound up with the tiger. They stole his tiger.
I can't believe it.
And
It's
then
such a
they're
good
like,
movie.
you have to bring it back. He's not going in the Bentley. They
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
bring the tiger back. That was so
It's
funny.
such a good movie. Highly
Highly recommend it. 5
give-
thongs up.
there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna give it five speedos up. I'll do 5 speedos.
There you go.
That's
You
my
have
new
your
favorite.
own rating system.
Yeah,
I love it.
I have my own rating system. But yeah, great movie. Highly recommend it. And go ahead and take it from there.
Yep. Yeah, I figure we got to use thongs because if I use heels, it would be 2 girls and a pirate because a 5's like the max.
I'm fun.
But that's where my brain goes. So that's probably a good sign that we should come to the end of this episode when I'm talking about pirates and heels. But yeah, no, this was a really good episode. I really think it's important that just in general we have more conversations about how to deal with negativity because like I said, in the world that we live in right now, it just hits us from every side. So you need to learn how to put up your shields and pew 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 shoot it down when it's coming at you and learn healthy ways to deal with it in your own life, whatever that means to you. And again, thank you, Frankie, for sharing your story too. I really appreciate it because it is very, very important. And so for our weekly assignment, I would like you to go to Learned in Go at either Facebook or Instagram. I will have this week's assignment up there. And the question is, what is something that you do when you're feeling like the negativity is getting to you to help you to feel better? Like, what's a healthy way that you deal with it in your own life? And again, every time you guys comment on this assignment, it is an entry once a week to the book giveaway that we're doing monthly. I'm going to give away a signed copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go once a month. So every week you can get an entry you can get 4 entries a month.
4 entries a month. I love that. And make sure you go follow the social media page. We have the new Facebook up there, Learn and Go. Everything is now forming to one, which is important to me. If everybody knows me, how I am with clutter and just all over the place and a million tabs open on your computer.
I was going to say he's going to mention my computer tabs. I can't help it. I have several profiles with multiple tabs open. It's like my brain. 18 tabs are open. There's music playing from somewhere. I don't know.
I have it playing. I like to do this during the wrap up. It's nice. It's cozy.
Oh, there you go. No, I meant in my brain, but if it's playing during the wrap up, that's even better.
Make sure you follow the social media pages. Also, stay engaged with us all over. You can follow us on the Spotify, all the podcast platforms. There's always a little question, like said I mentioned. We'll put that on there as well. And just we want to get more engaged with the fans. If you guys know any stripper movies, like please put us out on the social media. Send us a message. We'll put it out there so people can chug along and put them up there. So yeah, make sure you stay engaged with us.
Absolutely. And if
something
you
coming up
have
this
any
week coming.
topic ideas for the podcast, pass those along too. Always happy to talk about what you guys want to hear. That's the name of the game. So let me know if you have any stories of your own between preachers' daughters or exotic dancers, and
Or
maybe
come
we
on
can
the
share.
show.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have you as a guest.
Yeah.
So pre-screen though.
We would
Got to
love it.
pre-screen. Yeah. And remember, no matter what you are dealing with, take it on head on, because when you hide your head in the sand trying to hide from the world, you think no one can see you, but the rest of the world just sees a big ass. See you next week. Love ya.
Love you.